Time poses some unique challenges for seniors. Some are more vulnerable to heat and sun rays, and others find that outdoor activity they once could take for granted is more difficult. But our next guest says summer is for everyone. Rosemary Cass of Act 2 magazine joins us with how seniors can have a fun, active, and safe summer. So what are some of the things that are harder for older folks to do?
Well, there are certain precautions that they should take. There are certain dangers that, certainly exist. So some of the things they absolutely need to do are to stay hydrated, to wear sunscreen, and to avoid the middle of the day. If they're going to do some sort of strenuous activity, try to do it early in the morning or in the evening, early evening.
Yeah, so it's because that's the most intense heat and sunshine.
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
sometimes haze and all that too. So what are some of the dangers for older folks?
Well, dehydration, of course, and I just think everybody needs to know their limitations and not be afraid to say no. Sometimes we feel that we have to compete and keep up with all the children and grandchildren, and if you've got a bad knee, a couple of hours on the tennis court is probably not a good idea. So don't be afraid to say no, and know your limitations. There are people who are fantastic shape at the age of 90, and there are people who are not in such good shape at 50. So.
I'm in my mid-40s, and I got to tell you, I can't do everything I could do at 25. But let alone for somebody as they get older, that only changes more so with time. So what are some things that as we advance in age that we can look forward to doing for summer fun? Absolutely,
there's a ton of them, and we're so lucky to be living in Connecticut because Connecticut offers just a whole wealth of recreation and activities. On our website, we have all kinds of events for Connecticut, but some of the top things that I think people should do is take advantage of free things.
Why not? Or at least senior discounts, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's free concerts everywhere, art shows, craft shows, lots of things like that going on. The state parks, hiking, kayaking, all kinds of wonderful activities.
There really are a lot of crown jewels in the state park system here in Connecticut, aren't there?
Yes, there are. Absolutely.
How much tougher is the beach for seniors? And here's another thing I wonder about is, and this might vary too, does it sort of hit us like a ton of bricks, or is it sort of, how do we recognize when our limitations, you said we should know our limitations, how do we recognize them?
Well,
without it being the hard way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to be aware of the signals, certainly, and we all know when we hurt, but we fight it. We don't like to give in to it or admit it. So I think we just pay attention, and with some good medical care and the advice of a good physician, we'll know what we should and shouldn't do. Whether we pay attention to that is another story, of course.
Of course.
And that's the important part.
But isn't that the spirit of youth sort of sometimes working against us, but at least pushing it?
It is, and it's good, and it's good to push within limits, and certainly exercise and having fun and staying young and being young at heart is really important. Our mindset, it's really important. Just be careful, just know what you can and cannot do.
All things in moderation.
All things in moderation.
Chocolate and maybe religion or
exactly.
something like that. All right. Okay, now what about outdoor sports? We mentioned hiking. So what are some sports that people look forward to doing and maybe take part in as they get older as well?
That's going to vary, of course, to someone's physical condition. Somebody with a bad knee might not be able to do tennis, but they can do golf. So you have to just pay attention to who you are and what you like to do as well. But there's so many things. Kayaking, for example. Kayaking in the Thimble Islands or down the river is just a great activity.
We demonstrated pickleball last weekend. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of pickleball, but I know nothing about it.
It's kind of like miniature tennis and sort of ping pong. It's hard to describe, but it was a lot of fun.
Great.
And it was, I think, very easy to do, relatively easy to do. It's not nearly as strenuous as tennis.
Oh, that sounds
but still
great.
Competitive.
I think I'm going to get some information on
pickleball.
that. I will.
Yeah,
put it up on our website.
Apparently a lot of seniors are enjoying doing that. Okay, now one thing, again, walking is generally a moderate activity.
Yes.
One way to enjoy a summer day, if it's really hot, is maybe to beat the heat and go to a movie theater, right?
Absolutely. Great movies. Also, let's not forget our casinos here in Connecticut,
that's true.
too. Foxwoods has some great shows coming up. They have golf packages, too, which you don't always think about when you think about a casino. But the casinos are fun. Theaters. Lots of good summer theater in Connecticut. Lots of good music festivals. So, there are air-conditioned activities or rainy day activities.
Yeah, it was just at Goodspeed about a week and a half
Goodspeed's
ago, or 2 weeks ago.
wonderful.
They went fantastic productions there, as well as many other places
Yes.
in the state. Rosemary Cass with Act 2 Magazine, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you
Always
for having me.
appreciate that. And of course, we'll have this segment up on the web, WTNH.com, if you'd like to have a look at it and review maybe some ideas that you didn't quite write down just yet. But